Hey guys, welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath Holland. This is the first of a brand new series. This is Musical Archaeology Expedition 1. I'm leaning into the archaeology theme here because everything we're going to talk about here is drawing from music past. Let me tell you guys what's going on right now. Every single month, dozens of catalog titles are being issued on vinyl, on CD, drawing from music history. And these releases are flying under the radar. They are not getting seen, heard, or talked about at the level that I think they should. So what we're going to do here is roughly once a month, we're going to talk about stacks of vinyl that have hit. We're going to talk about any relevant visual entertainment that ties into what we're talking about. And we're going to talk about lots and lots of CDs because I believe, in fact, I read an article about this today. CDs are making a huge comeback because vinyl has gotten so expensive, so esoteric, so elite that people are gravitating back to CDs because they're cheaper. You get so much more bang for your buck with a CD. People always gravitate to what's most affordable. Digital will always be the most affordable, but we want to support artists. We want to have the physical artifact. Let's kick off with some vinyl coverage here. This is X-Ray Spex, Germ-Free Adolescence. This is a hugely influential punk, post-punk, however you want to classify this, album that, I interviewed Deborah Ayal from Romeo Void right here on this channel, talking about their Record Store Day release from 2023. And she talked about how this album was huge for her. A huge influence, got her into songwriting, got her into wanting to perform, and it was sort of a gateway. So this is a limited U.S. edition, 180 gram day glow pink vinyl, 4-panel, 12-inch insert containing artwork photos. Let's do that. I'll show you guys. Really, really fun. And then here's the 12-inch insert. So again, this is available right now. This is something that's hitting stores, independent record stores right now, but I'm not seeing a lot of press about it. It's got the lyrics on the inner sleeve. I gotta confess to you guys, I'm not a huge fan of these adhesive sleeves because they do tend to catch the cover of the of the album, which could lead to some problems. If you follow my film and television coverage, Mondo New York just got a Blu-ray issue with the CD soundtrack included. But for those of us who prefer that warm sound of vinyl, there is a vinyl version of this release as well. I just wanted to shout this out really quick. Bear Family Records is doing a ton of cool stuff with their CD. I mean, really, the Bear Family is the top. They are doing some of the best work in the catalog reissue game. And so we've got these two 10 inches. These are both rockabilly flavored. This is Talking Off the Wall by Eddie Bond and Marvin Rainwater, Hot and Cold. So they're 10-inch records, which means less songs. Although 12 songs on each, actually 12 songs on Marvin Rainwater, 14 songs on Eddie Bond. Eddie Bond, see, the thing about rockabilly artists is that they would have a rockabilly career, and then most of the time they morphed into just country in the 60s. Rockabilly was that wild, in the 50s, that wild early rock and roll sound, fused with a lot of country, fused with some blues. And then a lot of those guys would go into country. So Eddie Bond is one of those guys and Marvin Rainwater too, moved into country. This is really highlighting their rockabilly stuff. But what I love about these is that they are not just a 10-inch, right? It's not just a 10-inch record. By the way, I should hold this up for you. Here's Bear Family's 10-inch vinyl line. And it continues on the backside too. I mean, if you froze that, I mean, you saw we got Gene Vincent, we've got Jerry Reed, we've got Eddie Cochran. I mean, really, the icons. Wanda Jackson. We get this portrait, this photo of Eddie Bond. We've got this book, which is full of information. It's a history of these artists. Now, I'm going to say these are not cheap. These records, these 10 inches go for like, I don't know, $40, $45. That sounds like a lot. So you're getting the right 10-inch record, right? I should show you. They're beautiful. I mean, beautifully pressed. They sound great. They're always, every one I've got is flat, no warping. They're pressed to a very high standard. But then you also get, not with every one of these, but with Eddie Bond and with Marvin Rainwater, you get a CD. So what did I say? It was like, this one had 14 tracks on it. The CD has 25 tracks. So you're getting a record, a book, a photo, and a CD. That's really, really cool. In fact, I've got enough of these that I need to actually get some 10-inch outer sleeves and probably some 10-inch inner sleeves, so I'm not dragging this in and out of that paper sleeve. Marvin Rainwater is the same deal. We've got our photo, leaning into his Native American heritage. Bear Family would like you to know that they do have a 4 CD box set covering, I think it goes up to 1969, 120 tracks. A lot of the country stuff. We've got the booklet with the history of Marvin Rainwater. And I love the Bear Family. It almost looks like Sun Records, right? That yellow label. You can see just super glossy, super shiny. And where's the CD? Here's the CD. So instead of 12 songs, we've got 28 tracks on this CD. Acrobat Records continues to put out a lot of really, really cool classic artists. I've got a whole collection of these. This is the Jerry Lee Lewis one that it's pretty new. This spans 1956 to 1962. Now, I think all of these, and pretty much everything that Acrobat is doing, is drawing on UK and European copyright law that puts everything from 1962 and earlier in the public domain. So what that means is that you can get affordable. These are like $20. I think you can get them cheaper than that if you want them. And I'll show you my whole. So I did a video about this on social media, but I don't think I've ever done this here on my channel. We've got Bobby Darin going up to 62. We've got Carl Perkins going up to 62. The Del Vikings, 1956 to 62. You see the theme. Basically what they could include without having to pay royalties. Etta James. The Coasters, this goes up through 61. Link Wray. I do have to tell you guys, I have to be honest. Link Wray, the center spindle hole was too small. I had to, but it's the factory, right? We're seeing a lot of pressing issues because of the demand. The demand outweighs the supply at the moment, right? We have just a few pressing plants taking care of the whole world. Deanna the Belmonts through 1962. The Everly Brothers. Love me some Everly Brothers. Here's Wanda Jackson through 1962. Ricky Nelson. Dwayne Eddy. Connie Francis. I think that's going to do it here. The important thing about these is that, it's hard to find, for these artists, it's going to be hard to find some of these, hard to find some of their collections new. You can get it digitally. You can get some of this stuff on CD. Affordable vinyl for these artists can be hard to find. So for $20, you're getting good quality sound on a well-pressed record, center spindle hole notwithstanding. Lest you think this is just like a product shill video, I wanted to talk about this release that I found in the $3 bin of my local record store, because this really fits the archaeology aspect of what I'm trying to do here. So this is St. George and Tana Is Now, and I'd never heard of it. It's 1967. I was like, what is this? I took a chance on it. Obviously, for $3, you're gonna try something like this out, because obviously I'm a huge folk rock fan, huge 60s music fan. I love that period, right? When folk rock and psychedelia kind of meet. And this is just really, really obscure. So I brought it home, cleaned it up. I like it a lot. Here's the thing. Nobody knows anything about this. The definitive history of folk rock and psychedelic music was written by a journalist named Richie Unterberger. And you can see his books, Amazon, digitally, physically. He is like the chronicler of this kind of music. And he doesn't know much about it. We don't know who St. George was. We don't know who Tana was. We know who produced this record, but this has had no life on digital. It's never had a CD release. This is the only thing that ever came out. We don't know where. We don't know if these guys were in Los Angeles. We don't know if they're in Texas. we don't know anything about this record other than that it exists. So here's to be fully honest with you guys, I bought a copy. This is actually, well, here. So the copy I bought from the $3 bin had some cracks and pops, right? And I was looking on eBay. I was like, I really like this record, and I'd like a cleaner copy that I can digitize. So I found a listing that said it was excellent. It was actually this one. And it is not in excellent condition. So the copy I was trying to upgrade is actually cleaner than this replacement. You see it's got 2 cutout holes here as well. But if you, I feel like Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries. If you have any information that can lead to the identity of St. George Antenna, please let us know. Let's talk about a DVD for a second. This is Ready, Steady, Go, the Kaleidoscope Archives. I feel like, what is this? First of all, I want to thank one of my Patreon supporters who tipped me off to this. They know who they are. They're probably watching. I'm talking about it, man. This is a UK very, very low price. I think maybe it was limited to 300. It was a really low number. I got number 191. Ready, Steady, Go was a music show in the 60s on UK television. I believe it came on Friday nights. The tagline was "The weekend starts here," and they would have everybody come on and basically lip sync their songs. But the Beatles were on there, Dusty Springfield was on there a lot, and so there have been a lot of rights issues because of the music performances, right? So you don't see a lot of this stuff. This is an archive on disc of what they could license, and also a lot of the talking head segments. So like Gene Pitney would go on Ready, Steady, Go, and they talk to him. Burt Bacharach is on there talking about writing hits for America. PJ Proby, one of Elvis's songwriters, is on Ready, Steady, Go, talking about his track, and then he'd lip sync to his song. So these are some of the performances that are included, and I'll export this in 4K, so hopefully you guys can read some of this. But it's got the Beatles. You don't get to hear the Beatles sing, but the Beatles are on it. The Otis Redding special, interview with Ringo Starr, interview with George Harrison, interview with Paul McCartney judges a mime dance contest where the people are like pretending they sing the song. These girls are on the stage and they're like, it's like who mimed it better, and he judges that. Amateur DJ John Lennon. Lulu does shout. Gene Pitney, Martha and the Vandellas, the Zephyrs, Marvin Gaye. The Rolling Stones, Off the Hook, the Zombies, Summertime, the Isley Brothers, Sandy Shaw, another Beatles interview, no Beatles music. So, Stevie Wonder, the Miracles, the Supremes, the Temptations, Nina Simone, Peter Cook, and Dudley Moore. Come on. And then the Rolling Stones all over one of these shows. Got like 6 numbers from the Rolling Stones. Incredible stuff. You can't get this now. I'm only covering this to say keep your eye on the Kaleidoscope Home Entertainment website, because they're actually, I think they just restored a Hollies TV special. It's like 25 minutes. They just restored that. I mean, there's a lot of cool things happening way, way, way under the radar. Only people on like Steve Hoffman forums are talking about this stuff, but we're talking about it here, so I want you to know about it. Cherry Red Records is putting out some of the coolest releases of all time. This is We Can Work It Out, which is their second compilation of Beatles covers, people covering the Beatles. The first one is covers of the Beatles 1962 to 1966. Their first compilation was Glass Onion, I think Looking Into a Glass Onion, and it leaned a little bit heavier into the acid rock and the psychedelic stuff, and there's like Deep Purple's on there with their Help cover, things like that. Kind of bombarding with that prog rock sound. You hear it coming, right? You see the evolution of what's happening in the later 60s. This is all early 60s stuff. And it's not all good. Hopefully you guys can read this. I'll talk about some of this. It's not all good. In fact, a lot of it's outright bad. But the purpose of these collections is not like, hey, look how amazing all these Beatles covers are. It's to give you a historical and musical archaeological view of the impact of the Beatles, how far and wide that impact was. And some of these are from live performances from television that honestly should not have been issued. They're not good. There's one performance where the guy's voice cracks through his multiple times. He can't hit the notes. But there's also a lot of really good stuff here, a lot of really weird stuff. We got Mae West doing Day Tripper. You know, Mae West, a huge star of the 1930s, but she kept it going all the way into the 60s, and she was doing rock and roll covers in the 60s. So we got her doing Day Tripper. You know, if you know Day Tripper, it's talking about she's a big teaser. She took me half the way there. So Mae West owns it. She's like, I'm a big teaser. I took him half the way there. So from her point of view, again, it's not good necessarily. Like musically, it's not good. She's not a great singer, but it's really cool. PJ Proby's on here. What I love the most is when these artists take it in a different direction. If you're going to try to do the Beatles, and we have to remember in 1962, 1963, even 1964, the Beatles weren't the Beatles that we know now. They had not forever changed the face of recording. They were just a really popular group that everybody wanted to kind of ride the coattails of. So you get a lot of people just doing straight covers, and you don't cover the Beatles straight. Add your own flair to it, make it sound different. The Fifth Dimension, Ticket to Ride, that's a great one. I love that one. I love the stuff that gets really weird and gets really like a huge departure. Paraffin Jack Flash Limited, Norwegian Wood, This Bird Has Flown. That's one of the ones you want to check out. We've got Liza Minnelli's version of For No One. What are some other ones that I really want you guys to go check out? The Senate does Yellow Submarine. Who else do I want? Spanky and Our Gang. I love Spanky and Our Gang. And Your Bird Can Sing. There's jazz covers. There's some real great jazz musicians doing things here that just are really ambitious. I love what Cherry Red Records is doing. They are one of my favorite labels. You get the booklet with the track by track breakdown. If it was a single, you've got the single cover art for it. You've got where it landed on the charts, or if it was a charting performance. Really everything that you want to know about these. It's really historical. It's archaeological work. Disc 1, Disc 2, and Disc 3. Highly, highly recommended. I also recommend the Glass Onion compilation from a few years back. Let's talk about Liberation Hall. This is their new release of the Blasters, mandatory. They've just reissued the Lloyds. Liberation Hall got their hands on the license of a lot of performances from the San Francisco punk new wave scene, late 70s, early 80s. And they have been putting out these reissues of really great stuff that, again, kind of flew under the radar. They did the Mutants a couple of years ago, and I'm discovering some of these bands for the first time because I just was not connected to that scene or what was going on there. This is a good one. It's really fun. But do check out Liberation Hall. They're putting out some really incredible reissues of punk and new wave and kind of that rockabilly sound, like whatever was happening, late 70s, early 80s. Now, let's take it back to, you know what, I should also mention, let me go back to Cherry Red Records for a second, because they have also just issued The Spinners, a box set of The Spinners, and it's basically their earliest albums. You could put a star by that because they were doing things before these albums came out, but it's really like The Spinners as we know them. And these are songs that we know so well. The Spinners, the great, great, great hits. I don't have that physically. They sent that to me digitally, so I don't have that to show you. I have a huge collection of Spinners that I got. I've got vinyl, of course. I've got vinyl Spinners. But digitally, there was a bundle on Amazon. I don't know, it's like 5 years ago. I picked up, I think it was like 18 albums. It was like a huge chunk of Spinners. It was most of what they had. I think it was like everything except for 2 albums for like $20. These masters from Cherry Red Records on CD sound exactly like what I have from Amazon, the digital files I have from Amazon. However, these are expanded editions of these albums with B-sides, with alternate takes, with things we've never heard before. So each CD is like 70 minutes long as opposed to like the 40 minutes that we're used to getting. There's so much extra stuff there. So if you're a Spinners fan, if you're a classic soul sound fan, you do want to check out Cherry Red's new reissue of The Spinners. Now let's talk about Bear Family Records again, because now we're moving into the CD stuff, obviously. Bear Family, the guys behind those 10-inch vinyl records that I was just talking about, they do compilations like nobody else. They are the pinnacle. I guarantee you Quentin Tarantino has a lot of Bear Family stuff in his collection. I bet you he has this too. So this is Beware Insects and Spiders. 28 buzzing blasters from the vaults of horror. It kicks off with Buddy Merrill, Green Hornet theme. Here, I'm going to hold that up for you guys right there on the top. Buddy Merrill, Green Hornet theme. Go look that up. Here, I'm going to give you guys, because I'm trying to give you recommendations, go look it up, right? You look up Mae West Day Tripper. You look up the Paraffin Jack Flash. What was the name of the track? Paraffin Jack Flash Limited, Norwegian Wood. Look these up. Look up Buddy Merrill, the Green Hornet theme. Incredible stuff. They start you off rocking, and then it does not slow down. A lot of my viewers love horror. This is up your alley. This is amazing music. This is music that honestly feels like a sin to have playing with the lights on or when the sun is up, because it has just that underground feel. And again, because we're talking about a great catalog label, it's part of their, I guess, is this part of their Destination series? They do these, it's not, right? Maybe this is the flyer for their Destination series, but they do these Destination Moon, Destination Cruise, Destination Jail, Destination Freeway, and it's just themed compilations around that particular subject. And again, you got liner notes, you've got the original 45 label where applicable. Do they do chart performances? No, they do the dates and stuff though. I mean, absolutely incredible stuff. Here, I'm going to just do a few more pages from this. Super, super fun stuff. No, I've tried to group these by the company, by the label that's issuing these. So here's another Bear Family. This is On the Dance Floor with a Finger Snap. 31 pops to make the party shake. So this is going to be themed around finger snaps. They don't all have finger snaps. I don't think they all name finger snaps, but a lot of them do. They kick us off with Joe Henderson, Snap Your Fingers. The Coasters, Three Cool Cats. Now, I came to that song through the Beatles, because I think it was on the Beatles anthology. They had done a version of it. Check out the Coasters. Absolutely cool. One of the things, here's the track listing. BB King does a version of 16 Tons here. Check it out. Go listen to BB King's version of 16 Tons. I think the Tennessee Ernie Ford version is the most popular version of that track, but in 1955, which is when I think that's when Tennessee Ernie Ford did his as well. In 1955, everybody did 16 Tons, including BB King. If you only know BB King from like Blues, Lucille, this is a different BB King. This is a much younger BB King. It's wilder. What is looking for the BB Blues Boy King. And there, I'm going to hold that up if you want to read that. Check it out. It is awesome. We got Peggy Lee's Fever. Right? These are iconic songs. Again, these booklets are like just the Roger Miller. Love Roger Miller. Eclectic, right? They're not just like one style. They are all over the place, but they connect. Like Wynonie Harris. We talked about Wynonie Harris because we talked about Quiet Whiskey in my Halloween music episode. Go check out Wynonie Harris, Quiet Whiskey. It is incredible. Laverne Baker, Elvis Presley's version of Fever. So we got Peggy Lee, and then later we got Elvis Presley's version of Fever. We got Jimmy Dean's 16 Tons. We've got Ruth Brown, Hank Thompson. I just picked up a Hank Thompson record at a thrift store, and it was awesome. Could not believe I found that in a thrift store. The Hank Williams Connection. Bear Family. See what I'm talking about? Bear Family, top of the mountain. This is the roots and 33 roots and covers of Hank Williams. So this is going to be songs that Hank Williams covered, or songs of Hank Williams that other people have covered. So we got Bobby Helms doing I'm a Long Gone Daddy. Hank Williams Jr. doing Callin' You. If you know Hank Williams Jr., long before the Bocephus era, when he, all his rowdy friends were coming over tonight, back in the 60s, Hank Williams was basically impersonating his dad. After his dad died. By the way, check out my video from the Hank Williams Museum and the Hank Williams gravesite in Montgomery, Alabama. I put that up just a few weeks ago as this is going up. And hey, future Heath editing this. Pop up a photo so people can see that. Audrey Williams, Honky Tonk, and Richard Hayes. Let's see. Pee Wee King and his Golden West Cowboys doing Rudy Tootie. Bobby Helms, I'm a Long Gone Daddy. Johnny Cash, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. Come on. Marvin Rainwater, Moanin' the Blues. Skeets McDonald. The Spotnicks. Hey Good Looking by the Spotnicks. Now, if you don't know who the Spotnicks are, they're like the space age instrumental This is surf rock, but I don't know. I would not limit it to just surf rock. It's space age instrumental music by the Spotniks. Ronnie Hawkins, Ramblin' Man. I got to dig into the booklet on some of these so we can look up. There's Marvin Rainwater. I mean, these booklets are thick too. How many pages? It's going to be 36 pages. Yeah, 38 page book. Ray Charles doing "Take These Chains from My Heart." You know, Ray Charles was a huge country fan. You see him performing with Willie Nelson. Here's the Spotniks. I should also say, you know, I'm not covering these to sell them to you. However, if you do want to pick up some of this stuff, I'm going to put a link in the description. There's a link in every video's description. It's an Amazon link, and anything you buy through that link supports Serial at Midnight. So that's not the point of these videos. The point is because I love this stuff, I get excited about it, and I love music just as much as I love movies and TV shows, but my music coverage has not gotten the engagement that the film and television coverage does. I no longer care. I just want to talk about the stuff I love. And I love this stuff. Matt Curtis, huge rockabilly star, another guy like almost everybody else, kind of evolved into country as the sound changed. But Bear Family, they have these, you know, so-and-so rocks collections, and they really spotlight people that may not necessarily be known for rock. They got a Charlie Feathers volume. I think of Charlie Feathers, Peepin' Eyes, like he comes out of that real, or like Sun Records recording artist, some of that's real hillbilly music. But then One Hand Loose, it gets real rockabilly as the 50s go on. So Wake Up Rock and Roll Baby, Wake Up Rock and Roll Wake Up Rock and Roll Rock a Baby. Anyway, this is the track listing. And because it's Bear Family, you know you're getting, little flyer just fill out, you know you're going to get another flyer. You know you're going to get all the history, all the relevant information about learning about these artists. Here's the thing. The story of these artists is kind of disappearing, you know? And here's another thing. These artists were not all necessarily household names. Here's the Rocks. This is for the Rocks collection. Let's hold these up. There's a ton of these. And they all good. They are all good. It flips around to the back too. Cliff Richard. This is also from Bear Family. Cliff Richard, Dynamite. The Brits Are Rockin'. This is another one of their series. The Brits Are Rockin'. This is volume 10. Cliff Richard, huge UK rocker. You know, interestingly, the UK, for those that may not know or care, I don't know. The UK kept and Germany, the UK and Europe kept rockabilly alive. It was a brief window in America. Rockabilly actually never really caught on in the mainstream. Elvis, of course, we did have some rockabilly hits that caught on, Gene Vincent, but they continued. The Brits and Europe really kept rockabilly alive. The Stray Cats essentially got big in England, you know. Rumble in Brighton, you know, like we have so much to thank the Brits for keeping this music alive. Cliff Richard, huge British recording artist, and you know, it's interesting his career evolution too. But this period in time was just all bangers all the time. Let's try to get the glare off of that so you guys can see it. Again, really dense with information here. I'm going to say this is probably another 38 page book. We got Cliff Richard's, all the discography information in the back. This is the last Bear Family records we're going to talk about. This is The Rhythm of the Rain, 30 melodic drops for cloudy days. Again, it kind of goes all over the place, but they're from an era. They're from that 50s, you know, the 50s into the very early 60s. The pre-rock era is what it is. Dee Clark, Raindrops. Dion, Drip Drop. Chaz McDevitt, Skiffle Group, Face in the Rain. The Cascades, Rhythm in the Rain. Jerry Byrne, Raining. I'll hold this up for you guys. And because it's Bear Family, we got an incredible, there's another flyer. We got an incredible booklet telling us everything we need to know about these songs. I lied. We have one more Bear Family. This This is Santa Swings, The Wind-Up. 27 Christmas stockings full of shellac dust. I meant to cover this in December. This is January as I'm recording this. However, you still want to go check some of this stuff out. This is a great time to pick this up too, because it's going to be cheap and you'll be preparing yourself for the holiday season of this year. This is all like 30s and 40s Christmas music that you have never heard, that has probably never been on the radio in some cases. I want you guys to go check out track number 10, Johnny Guarnieri with Slam Stewart, Santa's Secret. So Santa's secret is that he's flying around baked all the time. This is like just like 1930s. Santa's, there are words I don't want to use because YouTube's algorithm flags certain things. Santa is, he's puffing up there. And I was like, whoa, this song's from like 80 years ago, 90 years ago, whenever it was recorded. I could not believe what I was hearing. So this is wild stuff, man, wild stuff. Pulled from a lot of 78s, the source material on this. If you're like, well, if it's not, pristine digital, I think all of this stuff is needle drops from 78 records. 78s were, that's even where the title comes from. 27 Christmas stockings full of shellac dust. 78s at that time were made of shellac. All right, let's switch over to Acrobat Records. So we talked about Acrobat with these affordable, like the Jerry Lee Lewis LP, but their CD stuff is somehow even better. This is Blues for My Baby, Billy Wright, collected recordings 1949 to 1959. Again, ain't no royalties associated with this, so we just get massive amounts of jump R&B and jump blues singer Billy Wright, as well as having a career involve several visits to the U.S. R&B charts, is notable for having been a significant and formative influence on Little Richard. Well, you can kind of see it right there, can't you? That's not Little Richard, that's Billy Wright. But this is a 2-disc set with 22 songs on the first disc and 21 songs on the second disc. So that's an awful lot of music for about $15. What does this say here? Includes his top 10 R&B hits, Blues for My Baby, plus You Satisfy, plus Hey Little Girl, plus Stacked Deck. It's done like this. So now here's another thing about Acrobat Records, is that sometimes these discs freeze up my player. When I get CDs like this, so I don't often listen to CDs on a CD. I usually rip them to digital. Now, you do see this? I just recently scored this. See, this is a vintage. It's a 1992 Sony 5-disc changer. So I do listen to CDs, but most of the time I rip them. Look at the text here. I rip them, and then I have versatility, right? I can listen to. I have them on my phone. I carry them in my car. I've got my music everywhere I go. And sometimes it's happened twice in the last couple of months. Some of these Acrobat Records titles, it's usually the last track, but they freeze up my player. I don't know. All right, the next chunk of these is coming from, it's one company, but a bunch of different labels. So the company itself is Broken Silence. This stack of music here, this is Broken Silence, but they comprise Atomicat Records, Coco Mojo Records, and that's just the ones that I've got here. So those are the two, but there are more labels than that as well. Coco Mojo is their Black Artist, is what it is. Coco Mojo it exists to highlight and elevate recordings from Black artists that a lot of us, white collectors, anybody, but the establishment is. Yeah, I think about all the songs so Black Pearls, right? This is the second and third volume of Black Pearls. One of Coco Mojo's mission statements, they did a whole series of Boss Black Rockers, 20 volumes of Boss Black Rockers. And each one of this has 28 tracks per CD. The goal is to highlight these great songs, some of which were covered by white artists, and then that's what got pushed on the radio stations. This is history. This is not like, he's getting all political. No, this is a historical thing that happened. You take a hit by this black guy, give it to Pat Boone. He'll take it to the top of the charts because it wasn't threatening, right? You could tap your feet to it, but it didn't make you feel bad. It didn't make you feel wild. It didn't make you feel guilty. It's just this very interesting thing that happened in the mid-century. So these are curated by Danish blues guitarist Ronnie Boyson, and it's really just great music from, the golden age Black artists. And that's essentially what Coco Mojo is doing with the rest of these here too that we're going to talk about. We've got 2 volumes dedicated to Jesse Stone and 1 for Leroy Kirkland. There's another Leroy Kirkland volume coming soon. Let me tackle this one first. So Columbia, South Carolina bred Leroy Edward Kirkland's 1950s studio work, which resulted in numerous up-tempo recordings. So a lot of these guys are going to be producers, or songwriters, or band leaders. So Chuck Willis, the Barons, George Benson, the Dreams, the Carnations, the Roamers. I'll hold this up for you. It's just this huge chunk of music from these that are loosely associated. My complaint is that they don't always connect the dots for me well enough. So this Jesse Stone, we got 2 Jesse Stones, right? Spotlight on Jesse Stone, The Stomp, and then Coco Mojo Songwriter Series, Crazy Crazy Party, featuring Jesse Stone, The Drifters, Ruth Brown, Joe Turner. Well, what's the difference? Well, once you start digging around, so this is the songwriter stuff, and this is the stuff that he may have written or that he conducted in the studio, the orchestra stuff that he conducted in the studio. But you're like, well, why aren't these 2 parts of the same thing? I can't necessarily explain the logic behind it. Doo-Wop Christmas Party. This is another Coco Mojo Records release, but it is awesome. I know Christmas is over, but the great thing about Christmas is it comes around every single year. So check out these track listings. Doo-Wop Christmas music, and it's a very sexy cover. All right, let's switch over to Atomicat. It's going to be rockabilly stuff, or country rockabilly, that vein. Jerry Byrd is a steel guitarist, pedal steel. You think about that pedal steel sound. Played with everybody. Hank Williams, Dolly Parton. Huge name in the country scene. An amazing, both a guitarist, songwriter, and a pedal steel player. Great stuff. So this is basically, they've staggered it. So it's 32 tracks. You'll get something, so like, okay, the first one is Red Foley, okay? So he played on this. This is Red Foley, Rockin' Chair Money. And then the next one is him, Jerry Byrd with Rex Allen, Stealin' the Blues. And then the next one, Curtis Gordon, that he played on. The next one, he's singing, Jerry Byrd, Texas Playboy Swing. He's not always singing, but he's always, Hank Williams, I'm a Long Gone Daddy. That's our second Long Gone Daddy reference here. So he's playing on that. The next one, Jerry Byrd, Bird's Expedition. So they're staggering it, like the cover, the work with someone else, then his. Work with someone else, then his. And it is awesome. These Broken Silence releases give you, they're a little minimalist, but I do appreciate that there are liner notes here. They're not prolific liner notes, but Bird's the Word features the solo recordings by Jerry Byrd, songs by other artists in which he was a studio musician, and then they give us like his background, all this stuff here. So it is really cool if you're into this sort of thing, and you should be. Go check out I think as Stealin' the Blues, Jerry Byrd vocal, Rex Allen. Stealin', like steel, like pedal steel. Stealin' the Blues. The guitar work is, he was like the Tom Morello of his day, like the whirp, all these weird sounds that he was getting out of his pedal steel. Really cool stuff. Hugh Lynn Duval. You will be forgiven if you do not know who Hugh Lynn Duval is, but this is a rockabilly compilation called You Knock Me Out, featuring Wildfire Willie, the Lightning Recording Boys, and more. This 30-song album reissues Hugh Lynn Duval's 745 RPMs, which were issued between 1957 and 1960. Again, copyright-free, royalty-free. Also features lively recordings he made with the Swedish group Wildfire Willie and the Ramblers, and the Berlin A-Team, the Lightning Recording Boys, and Long John and the Ballroom Kings. As an additional bonus, the album includes one live recording Duval made with his original group, the Troublesome Three. So a lot of these are 50s recordings, but then they do have some stuff from the 2000s. Really interesting compilation. Rockabilly stuff that really has fallen off the radar, if it was ever even on the radar. That's the thing. A lot of these guys that Broken Silence is highlighting never were a household name in the first place. And so discovering them now, it's like fresh rockabilly. It's like new stuff, but it's not new. It's vintage. It's great. Here's another Broken Silence. This is Atomicat as well. This is Booze Party. a theme compilation themed around getting lit. And the first track here, this is the one I'm going to want you to go check out. This is Rudy Grayzel. Here, Rudy Grayzel, FBI Story. And it's about J. Edgar Hoover and like the FBI. He's like naming gangsters that J. Edgar Hoover busted. But it's fun. It's really fun. And then they raided the joint, Firewater, Moonshine, Cool Juice, Bloodshot Eyes, Moonshine. I mean, so much fun. And again, we have very, very, very limited liner notes. All right, this is a drastic change, but this is Catalyst Paradise. The album is the recording artist is Catalyst. The album is Paradise. This is Christian hard melodic rock from 1990 that has really fallen off the radar. This is coming from a company called Labyrinth Editions Ltd. Looks like it was on the Minotauro label. It says Catalyst, 1989, but the CD was issued in 1990 from what I can tell. Romans 8:31. Now listen, hard rock fans have had it rough over the years, especially in America, because this stuff, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't exist anymore, but this is the only album by Catalyst as far as I know. And I think that I was trying to find out what happened to the person, but the founder of Catalyst. I think he's in production now. I think he's running like a production, like we can make music for you. Anyway, it's cheesy. It's really cheesy. Crackdown Breakdown is the first song here. If you want to go listen to that, it's like at the dawn of time, there was good and there was evil with like a faux British accent. And it's like it's pitched at the dawn of time. It's corny. The music's pretty good. There's one song here, I can't remember. I think it's You Can't Please Everybody. Maybe it's Break My Heart Again. Anyway, it's the same chord progression as Welcome to the Jungle, which is 87? So you can guarantee that they had heard that. But it's good. You know, I have known a lot of hard rockers, and they were not opposed to Christian rock. They were, in fact, like Impellitteri has had a huge reissue stuff in the last few years, last 1 year, really. Impellitteri, like, hey, here's like most of what they did reissued right now. A lot of hard rockers don't care. They just want that. They just want to rock, man. And so on that note, this is our last entry here. I did a video about Jack Starr's Burning Star because Global Rock Records put a bunch of their stuff back into print. Now they've boxed everything up. This is a Jack Starr's Burning Star box set. It is it's 7 CDs. These are the albums that are included. There's a few gaps here, but this is what they had access to. And then you notice the last disc is their From the Vault series. So we've got rehearsals, we've got instrumental versions, we've got we started in 1985, we end in 2017. This is another one where it's like, okay, Land of the Dead is on CD4. It continues. Strider Project. Hold on, it's like doing math. Strider Project it starts on CD3. It doesn't pick up at the beginning of CD4. It's later on CD4. Strider Project continued. So you got to do some work. The best way to do this is if you're digitizing this like I do. You put it in your laptop or whatever. You rip it. Then you make your own playlist. Then you export that how you want it. But it's getting this all back in print for the first time in a long time. And here's the album. I mean, great album art. So, and there is a booklet. It's a booklet as well. With a lot of information about the... well, there's actually not a ton of information about the albums themselves. They've given us some personnel, the production stuff, who played what. Trying to get back to that essay. So... if you're into Burning Star, and I know, they're under the radar too, but if you're into that, that's up your alley. This is what I'm talking about, right? As we wrap up this video, musical archaeology. These are things that are great. They are, well, they're worth your time, if nothing else. They are worth checking out, seeing what's for you. We are, because of where we're at as a society, as a culture, with copyright laws, with streaming music being the giants, it's opened the door for a lot of interesting things. But because it's so scattered and fragmented, the audience is so fragmented, you know, a lot of vinyl sales are being sold at Urban Outfitters. You know, support your local record store, but also support these labels who are really filling that gap for historic music, getting stuff out there from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s that we haven't had access to in a long time. You would think that, hey, everything's been out, everything's done, you have access to everything. That's not the case. So again, that Amazon link is in the description of this video and every video. If you know any of these songs, if you know any of these artists or these labels, let's talk about it in the comments below. This is not meant to be a one-sided conversation. You guys turn me on to stuff all the time. I want to thank you for that. Thank you for watching this, making this to the end of this video, making it to the end of this video. I appreciate you guys so very much. Please subscribe. Please give it a like, a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Guys, thanks so much. Take care. Until next time, I will catch you later.